Hey y'all, it's your girl Cassie D, and this is episode 2 of Vulnerable Hour. Now, you might have noticed that the title of this video is Here and There, and if you're wondering what that means, well, just sit back and let's talk about it. So before I start, I would recommend that you watch Pastor Mike Todd's series, Here is Holy. It's so funny because the Lord gave me this topic weeks ago, and then I see that he's doing this series called Here and There, which was just so amazing. So I watched his first episode, part 1, and literally so many things that I'm going to address, he addressed in his. And let me tell you, when I watched his, my feet were getting stamped all on. So I would recommend that you watch it because it is so good. So, what is here and there? Here is right now, your current situation where you are right now in life in this moment. And there is where you want to be, where you wish you were in life. So, to start off, I'm going to talk about when I first started college. So, I started college in a major that I didn't want to be in. I really wanted to pursue theater because that was just something I loved. I love acting. I love being able to tell stories, and I knew that I was a storyteller. And the main reason why I went to college in biology, which was, my first major, was because that's kind of what I felt other people wanted me to do. I grew up with people telling me, "Oh, you'd be a good nurse," because my mom was a nurse and they saw that I paid attention to detail and I was good at helping people, which is something I'm passionate about. But I just didn't think it was for me. But I wanted to kind of please people. So I went into biology thinking, I'm going to do this because other people said I should. And very quickly, and I mean quickly, I became not me. I was in these classes where I just felt like another number, like I wasn't seen, I wasn't noticed, and I was all of a sudden having to teach myself stuff, which I was not used to. And I just didn't feel like Cassie anymore. And so I kind of started to be upset all the time. I was getting attitude with my parents, even though they didn't deserve it. I was just so frustrated with where I was. And, I just kept thinking, I want to be there. I want to be in theater. I want to be doing something else. Again, I just wasn't Cassie. I'm usually goofy, and just encouraging others, to the point where I'm pretty sure I was getting on my friends' nerves. One thing about me is, I always say when, not if. Don't say if around me. And I would constantly be telling my friends, like, yeah, when you do this, when you do that, don't say if. And it was just me, constantly encouraging my friends to trust God. But then life hit and things got hard. I got uncomfortable for a moment and I didn't like here anymore. It was easier to trust God whenever things were going right. But as soon as life got hard and I got uncomfortable, I didn't like that. And I remember in that moment, the one word that I kept using for how I felt was stuck. I just felt stuck and like things were never going to change. So then my first year of college classes go by. By the grace of God, I made it through my first year. And now it's my sophomore year, and I'm still in this major I do not want to be in. Because even after a year, I realized it's just not me. That's not what I want to do. I'm not happy. But God allowed me to be able to take some classes in theater, and I remember there was this one class where we wrote a lot. It was writing for a solo performance, I think. And that semester we had to keep a journal and we had to have like so many journal entries, so many words. So I was constantly writing and I began to start writing how I felt. And the Lord reminded me of this monologue I wrote. And guess what I titled it? Just take a wild guess. Here and there. I'm telling y'all, God knows exactly what He is doing. And now I'm going to share with you that monologue. But keep in mind, though, I was like 18 or 19 when I wrote this. So some of the wording is not the best, but here we go. Here and there. Every time you take me here, I feel like I don't belong. Why am I even here? I don't want to be here, so why am I? Oh, right, that's why. Because you don't understand wanting to follow your dreams and not wanting to have a job just for money. Every time I enter this place, my whole mood just changes. I feel like I can't be myself anymore. Come to think of it, I can't remember the last time I was myself. This place sucks, literally and figuratively. When I enter this place, it literally sucks the life out of me. Here makes me enter this place in my mind that I didn't even know was there, a place that I never wanted to be. Here, I'm just another number. Here, I'm just another person taking up space. Here is where I don't belong. I don't want to be here anymore. Can you just let me go? I promise I won't come back. It's not like I want to anyway. I want to be there, there where I belong, there where people understand me, there where I'm not just another number. I love it there. I love who I am there. There, I don't have to care about what other people think of me. There, I am surrounded by amazing people who are just as hungry as I am about life. I finally feel like myself again there. I'm finally happy again. I didn't think I ever would be. That's all I really ever wanted. To just be happy. I love it there, and I'm never going here again. It's so crazy reading this because I can still remember feeling like that, being like that. I was not happy, and even the part where I talk about you don't understand wanting to follow your dreams, that was me, you know, feeling like nobody understood what I was going through again. I was like 18 or 19, so I was like nobody understands me. Um but yeah, honestly can't believe I actually wrote that because, even then I wasn't comfortable with expressing myself. And I guess I just was writing stuff down. But that girl, she was broken and she was scared. And it's crazy because that Cassie would have never shared that with anyone. She would have felt like you were reading her diary. And it's also crazy because I don't think I ever really had the clearest picture of what there was. I just knew that there I'd be happy. Like I said in the monologue, I'd be happy. People would understand me. I'd be around people, who would support me and all that and da 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 da. But it was never a clear picture of what I truly wanted there to be. And yeah, so again, I felt stuck and I felt broken and it just felt like that feeling was going to last forever, which was nothing but a lie from the enemy. And I so wish I could go back and tell myself that, that feeling was only temporary and that God was allowing me to go through that for a reason. So I could be able to share it in this very moment. So I could share with you all how he brought me out, actually snatching me out, and how he got me through it. And I just love the way God works because I had no idea that in the future I'd be sharing that monologue, but He did. And I know He reminded me of it for a reason for this moment in time. So going back to, that feeling of being stuck, that feeling sucks. And I remember even later on that year, I started having panic attacks. And, I was just so frustrated and scared, and I felt so alone. And I remember I kept praying for God to bring me out, to just move me out, just remove me from where I was, just out of that major. And sometimes, I'm going to be honest, it felt like God wasn't listening, but He was the entire time. So I woke up one morning and I remember I just started bawling. Like I was just crying uncontrollably. And it was to the point where I was like, God, please just get me out. Like I just can't do this anymore. And I remember, I think I literally said, God, I feel like I can't do this anymore. So then I remember I called up one of my brothers and I was just explaining to him, like, I'm scared to tell mom and dad, like, I don't want to be in this major anymore. They're going to be so mad at me. And I remember him just being like, just do it. So after I got off the phone with him, I was just praying. And then I got on the phone with my mom and I was like crying all over again. And I was like, Mom, I can't do this anymore. And then she just says, okay. And I cannot explain to you the weight that was lifted off my shoulders. It was like everything that I had gone through up to that point had vanished, and I could see again somehow. And again, over time, God made me realize, and He showed me why I went through all of that, and it was for a reason. And one of the main things that I learned was that I was never stuck. Again, there was a reason for all of that. He allowed me to be in a place where I was so uncomfortable, so unhappy, that I had to be bold and speak up for myself and stand up for myself and say, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I can't do this anymore. So now I know what it feels like. So when I see someone else going through the same thing, I know the signs, and I can be like, hey, I think it might be time for you to speak up. I think it's time for you to go. And something else He allowed me to see was what it feels like to try to please other people. It's not fun. It is not cute. But God, He got me through it, and He showed me what can happen when you try to live pleasing other people. It is so exhausting. But it was an important lesson that I needed to learn. I will tell you, there were two main problems that I wasn't doing properly. One was I wasn't intentionally spending time with God. I wasn't really reading my Bible. It was more like, I don't like this place that I'm in, and I'm going to pray when I feel like I need the most help. It wasn't intentional day to day spending time with God. And the second thing was, I was so focused on there that I didn't realize what I had here, in that moment. I had a God who loved me unconditionally and was trying to teach me throughout this entire process. I was so caught up in where I wanted to be that I didn't see that God had already blessed me in that moment. And going back to whenever I was watching Pastor Mike Todd's sermon on Here and there was one thing that he said that just blew my mind. And it's crazy because it was so simple. And I'm just paraphrasing, but the gist of it was that there will eventually become here. And again, that just blew my mind because I was so focused on there that I didn't realize there would eventually become here. And to get there, I'd have to be prepared here. God would have to prepare me here. And the same thing with you all watching that. God is preparing you here. What happens here is preparation and training for there, the there that God has for you. One of my favorite verses in the Bible that God gave to me one day, I think this was either my junior or senior year of college. I was just having one of those days, as most people do some days, where you just kind of feel down, kind of weary. But He gave me James 1, verses 2 and 3. And it says, Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. Now, I will say, the day that the Lord gave me that verse, I was filled with so much joy, and I was just thankful because that is truly what I needed in that moment. That scripture really just encouraged me that wow, He's preparing me. He's growing my faith in this moment. So, I know it's all worth it. But I know for other people who are going through, that verse may be so frustrating because you're like, you expect me to be happy and have joy when I'm going through, when things seem their worst? You want me to be happy that I'm going through what I'm going through? And don't get me wrong, I totally understand you. It kind of doesn't make sense. It's like, you want me to be happy and rejoice when things aren't going well? And the answer to that question is yes. That is God growing you and preparing you for that there that He has just for you. And I know sometimes we don't want to hear this, but we really got to slow down and let God grow us where we are. And some of y'all, including me sometimes, we want that microwave way to get there. We want something quick, that minute, 30 seconds. But God is saying, actually, you need to be put in the slow cooker. And actually, before you are put in the slow cooker, you need to marinate for a little bit. We need to take that time to let God grow us and give us that endurance. And if you try to rush past God to get to that you want, you might end up in a place that you don't want to be. And something that I had to face and realize was that maybe the there that I want is not the there that God has for me, the there that is so much better than anything I could imagine. And here's something else about there. Most of the time, the there we want is someone else's there. Someone with more money, a bunch of nice cars and what looks like a great career. You might look at that person and be like, I want what they want. I want to be who they are. And I will tell you, 9 times out of 10, honestly, maybe 10 times out of 10, if you could be a fly on the wall into their life, you would not want it. You would see all the behind the scenes stuff and be like, I actually don't think I want that anymore. That person is kind of messed up. What they're going through, what they had to go through to get where they are, I don't know if I want to have to go through that, because all we see is the outside, the social media side. Most people on social media show the good part of their life. They're always smiling and happy. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. That person with all the money that you want to be like, they could be the unhappiest person. Or let's say that couple that you see on social media, you want to be like, they're so relationship goals. They could have the most broken relationship behind the scenes and you don't even know. And on the flip side, some people want the opposite there, the past there. They want to go back there because at least there was better than here, right? Where it wasn't as hard. I kind of see that it's like a child who wants to grow up really quick. They want to be an adult, but then they become an adult and then life sets in. Life kind of gets a little hard. You got to start paying bills. And then it's like, I think I want to go back to being a child, where things weren't as hard, where I wasn't being held accountable for so many things. And the people who want to go to that past there, that reminds me of some people in the Bible who wanted to go back there. And those people were the Israelites. They would have rather gone back to enslavement and torment than being uncomfortable for just a moment in the wilderness, because at least they knew where their food was coming from, right? They were like, oh yeah, I mean, at least we knew where our meals were coming from and we had some kind of shelter. We weren't out here in this dry wilderness. We don't know where we're going. For some of you watching this, it could be, well, at least I had more money back there, or at least I had this person back there, et cetera, et cetera. Knowing that place that you were in was not the right place you should have been in. It maybe just have been a little bit more comfortable than where you are now. And if you've read this story about the Israelites, you know that God was leading them into their promised land. But when things got hard, they wanted to go back. When they were uncomfortable for a moment, they were like, oh, this is not for me. I want to go back to what I'm used to. And what happened to a lot of them? They never saw that promised land. They never saw that promised land because they were so disobedient and they were so focused on there. They even started to worship man made idols that they created because they thought it would be quicker to getting to there, that place that they wanted to be. Because they thought God was taking way too long, which I will admit, I've had those feelings sometimes where I'm like, dang, like, God, can you hurry up just a little bit instead of, being patient and trusting and waiting on Him? And if you haven't read that story in the Bible, you know that those people that were worshiping that idol, they're taken out. So they definitely did not get to see that promised land. And that is what is happening to so many people. They're so focused on their, whether that's past or future, that they don't realize what God is doing here and they end up missing out on their promised land. So I'm here to tell you, it is time to stop fighting here. It is time to stop being afraid of here. And it's time to stop trying to do things in your own strength to get to there. There being the there that you might want instead of the there that God wants for you. And for those people who have tried or are trying to still do things on their own strength, I have a question for you. And I know this is going to seem a little rough, but my question to you is, how has that been working for you? And I ask that because I can tell you from my own experience, it doesn't work. From my experience, it is so tiring and it is so exhausting. And yeah, God might allow you to get to some smaller places, but you're not going to get into those even greater places that He has already set aside and laid out for you. And for those people who kind of resonated with that. They've been trying to do things in their own strength. They haven't been getting anywhere. They're just tired and exhausted. I have a truth for you today. God is available to you 24/7. His word says in Matthew 11:28, then Jesus said, come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. It is time to stop trying to get there in your own strength. It is time to rest in God. His word says it. Rest in Him. Trust in Him. And why does He say that? Because He loves you so much. And see, this is where being vulnerable comes into play. So start being vulnerable with God. Start asking God, why He's allowing you to go through what you've been through. He wants you to ask Him questions, so ask Him. Maybe ask Him, God, what am I missing? What are you trying to show me here? Because everything that God allows you to go through is for a reason. He does not make any mistakes. And maybe what you're going through that you're trying to get out of so bad is God preparing you for that He's called you to. And you might feel like, God, I feel like I'm losing everything and nothing is going right. But did you ever stop and think, maybe everything that God is allowing you to lose can't go with you there? And you may be, having that question on the inside, why are my circumstances not changing? And that could be because there are some things that you have got to let go of. God sees and knows everything and may be trying to tell you that I am taking those things away because they cannot go with you there. I'm taking those things away because those things cannot go where I'm taking you next. That addiction can't go with you there. Those drugs and alcohol that make you not want to be here for a moment, those can't go with you there. That friend that you should not be hanging out with, they can't go with you there. Those distractions cannot go with you there because where I'm taking you is better. But you've got to leave some things behind. It is time to let some things go. And it is time to stop living based off how you feel in the moment because feelings change constantly. It's time to start loving here. It's time to start being thankful for here and to value here. Be thankful for being uncomfortable here because that's God working behind the scenes and preparing you for there. Why? Again, it is because He loves you so much and wants the best for you. Maybe like me, maybe it's a major or a job where you just feel uncomfortable and unhappy. Is God preparing you and pushing you to not live for other people and to not just choose some career path just for the money, but to do what He's called you to do and to be bold in doing that? Maybe that manager at your job that you're so frustrated with is God preparing you and showing you how you shouldn't treat people so that way when He puts you in charge, you'll know how to treat people. And maybe all of this that God is allowing you to go through is Him preparing you to help someone else. Because one day you're going to realize why He allowed you to go through what you went through. So now you can see the signs. You'll be able to look at someone else and say, God allowed me to go through that same thing. So now I'm going to help you. I don't want you to have to go through what I went through. So now it's time for you to go. Now it's time for you to get out of that relationship. Now it's time for you to start telling people no. And it's up to that person to listen. Not everything you go through in life is just for you. It could be God's way of opening your eyes and then leading you to help someone else. And other times, what you're going through could be God's way of opening some doors that might not have been open if you hadn't had the experience. Because I know for a fact, and there are so many stories in the Bible that proves that God knows how to qualify His children for some amazing things. It might be rough, it might be hard, but He is preparing and training and again qualifying you for that there He has set aside just for you. So for anyone going through right now, you're just feeling stuck. You just want to be there. You are not stuck, and you are not alone. God has been with you every step of the way, and He's leading you to your purpose. He's leading you into the calling that He has on your life. You may not know what there is, but God does. So let God, who knows all things, prepare you. And don't think you're too broken or that you don't have your life in order. You have to have your life in order to go to God. No, God wants you now. If you're feeling broken, go to Him broken. He's kind of known for healing people. Take some time this week and truly be vulnerable with God. And if you don't know what to say, try praying this prayer. God, here I am. I don't want to focus on there anymore. I want to be thankful for here because you are here and I am loved here. I realize that being vulnerable about how I'm feeling here is going to be uncomfortable and scary. But here I am, God, ready to surrender everything to you. God, I want that there that you have for me. And I know that to get there, I will need to be prepared here. So prepare me here, God. Help me to let go of the things and people that can't go there. Help me to be thankful for all that I go through here, because it's you preparing me for the there that you've already gone ahead and laid out for me. Thank you, God, for here. Amen. If you prayed that prayer, know that I am so happy for you and that this is just the beginning. Go out and be thankful for what you have here and now. There is gonna come, and soon that there will be here. So trust in God and allow Him to prepare you here and now. He's already got there taken care of. I love you all so much, and I truly thank you for watching this episode. If the Lord spoke something to you and you just want to share it, please comment below because I would love to read it, and I'm pretty sure so many other people would love to read it. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next episode.